Okay, call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is an executive session.
Make a motion, we enter executive session pursuant to MRSA Title I, Section 4056E, for the purpose of discussing a legal issue with the law firm of Drummond and Son.
We'll just move Zion back to the place that we normally.
I got a second.
So excited.
And vote, all those in favor? Okay, now we'll adjourn.
Yep, and I'm going to say one of the board members will definitely join us as we go in there. So the attorney will be ready at 5:30. So we'll go in there.
We'll call the meeting back to order following the executive session. There is no public comment, I've been told, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn. Seconded.
All those in favor? Okay. Okay, we'll open the meeting at this time, please. I would accept nominations for moderator, please.
I would like to nominate Stuart Marcoon as the moderator. Seconded.
Okay, I need one vote by written ballot, please. Somebody. To submit to the clerk standing. Grab that right there. Yeah, please. Okay, Stuart Marcoon has been selected has been elected as moderator. I'll proceed to swear him in at this time.
I, Stuart Marcoon, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof. I, Stuart Marcoon, do swear that I will discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as moderator of this meeting according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois.
First order of business will be to swear in our election clerks, and I'm going to come down and do that.
All right, clerks.
we are now all official, and welcome to the 2026 RSU 24 budget meeting. As you may have heard, my name is Stu Marcoon. I am the town administrator in Lemoyne, and I moderate several of the town meetings in the RSU that are coming up, so be sure to go out and vote at that as well. I'm basically the traffic cop tonight. I have no say in anything that happens here. That's all of you. I would ask that if you have questions, direct them to me. I will direct them to the appropriate person on the panel or whoever. Before we get started, I would like a motion to allow non-residents of the RSU to speak at the moderator's discretion. This is to allow maybe someone who does not live here, is employed by the school department, and has information to give to speak at my discretion, okay? Do I hear such a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, this has to pass by a 2/3 vote. Those of you who are voting have a blue card, I believe. That's how you vote, and that's how you are recognized by the moderator to speak. So all those in favor of the motion to allow non-residents to speak at the discretion of the moderator, please hold up your cards. Great, you may put those down. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is passed. Okay, not unanimously. Thank you. There will be some votes that we take during the course of this meeting that will require you to cast a yes or no ballot. The ballot box is up here, and we'll explain that when we get to that. It's required by state law. Okay? Let's get started. So Article 1 in the budget is to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The school board recommends $9,163,011.27. Oh, okay. Before we get going on the articles, I believe Mr. Eastman has a presentation on the budget. The floor is yours.
Yes, can you hear me back there? This isn't a situation where a short guy needs power, I promise you that. It's not one of my favorite things to do when I stand up here before you. Although I am standing before you, and this is my 11th year as superintendent of schools, and my 11th budget, and I will tell you each year of the process has become more challenging because the needs of our schools have become greater, and money doesn't grow in trees, and we're always very well aware of that. So, with that said, we'll get started. So welcome to the district budget meeting for FY27. A few thank yous to hand out prior to diving into the two budgets. The leadership team and Melinda Beers, together they worked to do the research necessary to put these budgets together that then resulted in a draft budget that went to the Budget and Finance Committee. And so thank you to Mary Copperthwaite, who is the chair this year, Mercy Hardison from Waltham, Mary's from Hillsborough, and Katie Garnett from Steuben. They spent some pretty intense nights, February and March, reviewing budgets and asking questions. So thank you for that. The full board on May 7th, they moved the budget forward, and so we appreciate their support as well. Moving on to the next screen. This gives you a picture of sort of how things work with the development process. It's hard to believe that already in November of last year, we're talking about FY27, but that's how it works because we have to do our data gathering and our assessing of programs and such. And so from November to January, the leaders in the district gather data by school and or department to put sort of the needs down. In January and February, those district leaders work with Melinda Beers, our business manager, and they create and review a draft budget. So that in the months of February and March, the district leaders present to the committee, the three-person committee, each one of these budgets, and they go line by line, and the committee members ask questions, sometimes lots and sometimes a few, but certainly they get a sense of the intricacies of the budget. And then that committee puts forward the budget to the full board. It went to the full board on May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. The budget was approved by the board to move forward to tonight, which is the district budget meeting. We have 19 articles that the moderator will walk us through. And then after tonight, we go to June 9th, the budget referendum. And that budget referendum is done in your local community, and it's across the district cumulative. So in other words, one town, Steuben can't vote the budget down by themselves, unless of course they have all the numbers and nobody turned out in the other districts. But it's cumulative across the district of the board, the budget passes. I do want to remind the group that school finance is complex and at times confusing to understand. As a leadership team, we are projecting, planning for, and at times guesstimating enrollments and needs for a year out. There are lots of moving parts and variables to make it difficult, and unknowns are very difficult to quantify for a budget, but it happens and we are required to do it. Also, keep in mind that our job as a leadership team is to address, support, and upkeep all parts of our operations to keep the district moving as a whole. So every piece needs to be addressed every year to make sure that our buildings are code and they have what they need in order to provide the best education possible and working environments for our teachers. Tonight, I will briefly explain two budgets. The first budget is the adult education budget. I would offer that our adult education program is a gem for the district, and that it has a reputation across the state for high quality and great success. Their budget is proposed at $529,387.66. That budget is up $5,092, or just shy of 1%. If we go on to the next page, we will see here, with every budget, you have to have your projected revenues. And so here are our projected revenues, and to keep you informed, we put out the current year, FY26, and then do next year's projected, and then the change so that you're aware. So our balance forward is down a little bit, $3,387.32, and that's estimated to be $27,122.58. State subsidy is up $8,762 for adult ed, and that puts it at $147,547.56. The workforce development program, the income from that program is flat this year at $50,000. Same with the enrichment fees; they're estimated to be $30,000, so that would be flat. And then that leaves the local taxation, and we are putting forward a budget that would have local taxation of $274,716.52, which is a decrease, very small, but a decrease of $281.85. And so the next question is, how does that impact me as a taxpayer? So we go on to, correction, this is the proposed expenditures. And so going down through again, we compare FY26 with FY27, and then put up for you the change that you will see here. And so the general administration of the adult ed program is going to be up $12,571. The workforce development expenditures part of the program is actually going to be down $20,884.61. High school completion is set at $94,472.77, and that is a decrease of $190. Adult basic education is set at $89,580.87, and that is an increase of $12,113.56. And then operations of our plant and custodian. So we operate our adult ed program out of the Sullivan Town office, and so the rental fee and some other supports to upkeep our portion of that building are built in there, and that is $44,298.50, which is an increase of $1,482.35. Now we see how this shakes out by using our formula. For those of us that are in the audience that come from a specific town, you want to find your town on the left-hand side. The next column on the left is what we have this year approved for your town, what we're proposing for next year, and then the change, both in a dollar figure and then percent. And so there are some decreases for some of our communities. This is set with our formula that we use, and the formula is based on student count and evaluation, property evaluation for your town. And so if you go down through, you'll see we have communities that will see increases as high as $2,588.86, with the majority of the other communities seeing decreases. And so the overall assessment to the towns is going to be down by $281. So that's the adult education budget. We will move on to the second budget. The pre-K through grade 12 budget is obviously a much larger budget because of the number of things that go with it. It is proposed for next year that the pre-K through 12 budget be $27,349,929.79. That budget is an operating budget, and compared to this current year, it is up $1,202,343, or 4.6%. And I'll do a little bit of explaining towards the end as to how that money attribute to the increase in. So, like adult education, we have specific lines that we use for revenue. We have our state general purpose aid, and our general purpose aid is up by $433,000, so it's set at $6,968,997.73. Our carry forward, each year we do our best to save money. Sometimes positions are filled, and so we have leftover money. That's our carry forward, and it's usually a year out. And so you will notice it's down. It's down by $369,000 because we didn't realize the savings and because we did fill some positions. Local taxes proposed at $17,510,297.41. And then we do have some other revenues. We have interest on bank accounts that we have. We do bring students into the district, and they bring them tuition dollars from other communities. And then we do also get some money from the Ellsworth School Department because we house outside here the carpentry program, which is part of the HCTC program. So there's HCTC money that we receive as well. So that's the revenue side of the budget. Moving on to the next screen, the state of Maine requires that we budget in 11 cost centers, and so those cost centers are listed down the left-hand side: regular instruction, special education, career and technical education, other instruction, student and staff support, system administration, school administration, facilities maintenance, transportation, debt service and other commitments, and then other expenditures. And so what we have here for you, like the other slides, you have the current year's assessment as well as the proposed assessment for each one of these cost centers. And then the last two columns are the change in the amount that we'd be asking, both in dollar amount and percentage amount. So the budget itself, as I've said already, the operating budget is up 4.6%. Given the fact that we are in some tough times and costs across the board are much higher than they have been in the past, we felt like it was a reasonable figure. If we could go on to the next screen. So here's where it gets a little bit interesting. The state of Maine, through their EPS formula, they dictate a certain baseline amount that they're going to tax us. So what they're saying is, in order for us to get our almost $7 million, we must tax our communities this EPS appropriation. And so you see the name of the community, you see this year's share, you see next year's share, all provided to us by the DOE, and then you see the change. On the left-hand side there with the communities, you see numbers. Those are numbers of students within each one of those communities. And so with both the local EPS appropriation and the additional local appropriation, it's based on formula. And so if you live in a town that has high enrollment and a town that has high or fairly high valuation, you most likely will take a hit just about every single year. And so, for example, Franklin and Goldsboro traditionally take hits on a regular basis, and that's because Franklin has the most students in the district, and Franklin has second highest valuation in the district. And so they're more often than not going to see increases. These fluctuate year to year as valuations are done and as numbers change, but this is the actual local EPS appropriation. That is a formula that is generic. You may have followed some at the state level. They are working on updating EPS formula. They have plans in the making, and hopefully will benefit from those plans next year. But in the end, it's a formula that's outdated, and it's really for urban districts, large urban districts, mostly in southern Maine, It's not meant for districts like ours. We are geographically spread out all the way from East Waltham down to Steuben. That's a jaunt to conduct business as a school administrative district. So we do have the additional local screening. These additional local screens are, again, formula, 60% student count and 40% evaluation. You'll see your community down the left-hand side. You'll see what was approved this current year that we're in, and then what we're putting forward for next year's budget, and then the change as you go down the right-hand side. And so the actual local appropriation, which is beyond what the state has said we have to tax you all, is $977,696.59. Moving on, you're going to take the previous two screens and put your total local appropriation. So the state says X, the local formula, because it's not enough in the state formula, the local formula says Y. You add those two together, and this is the total local appropriation for pre-K through 12 education in the district. Again, towns listed down the left-hand side, current year, second column, third year, which is what we're proposing for this year, and then the change per district, per town in the district, as well as the percent change. An overall change of 6.91% from last year to this year. There are, in my mind, in reviewing the budget, and I've spent a lot of time reviewing the budget, there are three factors that have really impacted the increase in our budget. There's another factor that I'm going to show you that's listed there, but it's because people have asked. They want to know the amount for this particular line, and so for the increase in this particular line. So if we can move on to the next screen there. Wages and insurance. The board made it clear early on they want to attract and they want to keep quality employees. And in order to do that, they felt strongly, and I agree with them, that you've got to put money in place to attract them. And you've got to create reasons for them wanting to stay. And so the collective bargaining agreements that we've been working through over the last couple of years, they put some nice money into those collective bargaining agreements. We do have some that don't have collective bargaining agreements, and for those, it's primarily cost of living, which I think is 2.8% is what we built into the budget for those lines. And so that's where the bulk of that $1.2 million increase shows up. The next one, the food service, and you noticed, we can get to it quickly so we can go back to it, but food service was under other expenditures underneath those 11 cost centers. And food service is a program that we run and came to realize this year that we did not budget the way we were supposed to. And so this year is actually a shortfall. And the reason why you're seeing food service at $165,540 proposed for next year is that's now accurate what it's going to cost us to run the food service program. Tuition, we have Franklin, Mariahville, Eastbrook, and Waltham that all came into the RSUB with tuition agreements, meaning they can they have school choice for certain places. And not just willy-nilly for the most part, they've got their places that they go to. And like us, the cost for the other districts are going up. So the tuition we're paying outside of the district is going up as well. And so that's being estimated at $129,274. And then as I was saying, a common question that I get is, well, what is a lawsuit? What the lawsuit going to do to your budget? And so really the most direct impact is the additional money that we set aside for board and legal fees of $12,500. And so the total of those four is $1,204,981. If you go down just one more screen, Xavier, the total budget increase year to year is $1,202,000. So really those four things together exceed the total budget increase. And so I believe that we're putting forward to a budget that respects the needs of our kids and does its best to balance that with what our communities can pay. I will tell you, I'm a Sullivan resident and has lived in Sullivan, knows the taxes have gone up pretty dramatically over the last couple of years, and so I feel the same pain. But we're charged with the responsibility of providing a quality education to our kids, and we're working hard to make sure we make steps towards that end. And so I would just, the next screen, Moderator Marcoon will walk us through our 19 warrant articles. There can be discussion by residents during the warrant articles. And then, with that said, the next screen will tell you to please show up on June 9th at your local voting station again. We appreciate the support. The support has been there for the last 10 years, and we're hoping 11. And there will be a mailer that will be put out after this meeting with the most up-to-date figures so that people get theirs before the June referendum. With that, I will turn it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eastman. I would note that on June 9th, you do not have to be enrolled in a political party to vote on the referendum for the budget. If you do want to vote in a political primary, you need to either be enrolled or not enrolled in any party. But no enrollment needed for that. Okay, let's start with Article 1 of the cost centers. And I'll read it again. To see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The school board recommends $9,163,011.27. May I hear a motion with an amount, please?
Move we approve the article with the recommended amount.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on Article 1. Do you have a blue card? You do. Yes, sir. I suspect the audience might be preferring to hear, so that would be a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I good?
All right. We can hear you.
I was glad to hear Mr. Eastman speak to the point about putting the extra money into salaries and compensation for the retention and recruitment of professional staff in the district. That's been something that we focused on for the 12 and a half years that I was on the board, certainly, where we worked to negotiate competitive contracts because we wanted that, because that's what's best for our students. And we did that despite these types of increases on our local communities. For perspective, this is up from $6.7 million 12 years ago. And I think it's valuable and it's worth it. But a number of us in attendance tonight are going to be voting no on this budget, not because we necessarily disagree with the proposed amounts, nor because we don't value our professional staff. We do very much. While others may vote this budget down solely on monetary grounds, we refuse to support this school board's policy decisions, which beyond hurting students, direct its professional staff to act against their sense of morals and legal responsibilities. And so I'm inviting everyone here tonight, opposed to the direction that the board has taken in the past year, to join us in rejecting a budget that will fund discrimination against students and cause higher teacher turnover, negating the vital work done to recruit and improve staffing and instruction over the past decade and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Questions? Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak in rebuttal, I guess, to Mr. Goff, point out that I knew this was an issue. It's been all over social media for the last week or more, and I would encourage the audience to consider the fact that there's no direct link between the budget and policy decisions made by the board. And it seems a shame to me that anybody would risk significant detrimental impact to students by weaponizing the budget in this fashion, because the assumption, I guess, is that if this body votes no tonight, that will somehow force the board back to the table to change its policy regarding trans students. And the fact of the matter is, we don't even have enough time between now and the time we have to have a budget approved to do that. Assuming a very best case scenario, we would not be able to get back to a board meeting until sometime in mid-June, even on an emergency basis, to change the direction of that policy. even if we did do that, the assumption would be that somehow in the last 5 months, members of this board will have changed their mind with regard to their vote on that issue, or that this threat of not passing a budget tonight might coerce them to change their mind on an issue that members of the board have decidedly spoken, mentioned that they're voting their conscience with regard to that issue. So it seems to me very unlikely that that would happen. However, assuming that did happen, my guess is that we would be back here again in a month, having another budget meeting at which the other members of our community who came to those meetings and spoke in favor of that budget would very likely show up themselves to vote no on the budget, to coerce the board to go back and change that policy again. And I can see that that could go on for essentially infinity. And that in the process, the only people that are going to be hurt by that are going to be students and staff that are employed by this district. Because we have to come up with some kind of a budget so that we can continue operations on July 1. If we don't do that, then we have employees who are no longer getting paychecks. And I sincerely doubt that will last very long before people leave. I also sincerely doubt that the board is going to take a message back and say, okay, let's go back and discuss policy without discussing budgetary issues. If we go back with this budget as it is now to make changes, and the message that I've always received at budget meetings, if there's dissension, is problems with the budget itself, which means people think we're paying too much money and we would like you to reduce the budget. So if that message goes back to the board, we'd likely come back in a month to another budget meeting, having made significant cuts to positions in this district. Because we can't cut salaries. We're contractually obligated to those salaries. So in order to make cuts, it's going to be cuts to people. We're going to have to eliminate teaching positions and/or staff positions in other areas that are likely going to have a significant, direct, detrimental impact on students. I would encourage you, if you have concerns regarding policy, and I know there are many members of this community who have continued concerns about the direction of the policies of this district, I would encourage you to continue to attend our meetings, our committee meetings, policy meetings, regular board meetings, to voice those concerns, and perhaps that discussion may engender change. I would also encourage you, if you're unhappy with the direction of the board, the direction the board has taken, to take advantage, as many towns have done in the last 4 or 5 years, to find new leadership on this board. Because that's what's happened. This board has had a dramatic change of direction in the last 3 to 5 years, and it's because voters have spoken. And so if there are members of the community that are unhappy with this board, in my estimation, the proper outlet for that is the ballot box, not the weaponization of a budget that will ultimately harm students and very likely have no impact on the change in policy. So I will cut it short with that.
Other questions or comments on Article 1? Yes, sir.
Girls want to play sports with me? Just kidding. So, as a taxpayer in Sullivan, I noticed our seat was empty at the last 3, well, at all town budget meetings, because I was there present for every one. Given that the school board budget consumes most of our local property taxes, how can you accurately represent our final interest without participating in these joint fiscal sessions? And that's directed at Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Other questions or comments on Article 1?
I'm only concerned with the school board budget, not the town. I don't pay town taxes.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You have, thank you.
Can I hear his answer again?
This gentleman has been recognized. I'll go back after he's done speaking.
I just want to point out that, yes, it could go on ad infinitum with the other groups coming up. Only one of those groups is asking you to break the law, to violate Maine state law. So you have to make that choice. You chose it before.
Thank you. The gentleman on the school board who spoke, can you give the answer that you just gave again? Didn't hear you.
I said that I'm only concerned with the school part of the budget, but I never knew that it was something I should do is to go to the town budget meetings. I was never told that, but
That would be a town manager that will be contacting. His role is for the RSUB board.
Okay. Through me, we have somebody down here who had her hand raised.
I just wanted to say that if we're just, I'm sorry, I don't know if my microphone's working.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Just if we're going to be discussing the legal portion, I believe that would fall under the administration and not pertain to Article 1.
Thank you. Others who haven't spoken yet? Anybody else who wishes to speak again? Seeing none, I'm going to call for a vote on Article 1. It's been moved to authorize to expend $9,163,011.27 for regular instruction. All those in favor of that amount, please hold up your blue cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Article 1 is passed as recommended. Article 2, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for special education. The school board recommends $4,696,930.10. Do I hear a motion with an amount?
Move we approve the article, the recommended amount.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize expenditure for the recommended amount. Discussion on Article 2. Right here.
My name is Grace. I'm a resident of Franklin. And I have a comment about this cost center. On average, a student with a disability costs about $6,000 more to educate each year than their typical peers. We used to assume around 15% of students would have disabilities or need some sort of interaction with special services. That would mean a minimum of 15% of the budget should be spent on special education services. That rate has gone up since COVID began, with increasing rates of especially young kids with speech and developmental delays entering our schools. At last estimate, a minimum of 1% and up to 10% of our students are expected to need accommodations after infection-acquired chronic conditions like long COVID and Lyme. That 15% of students is now more likely to be 20% or more, and the question is how well we're identifying them. Since the federal government is supposed to pay a minimum of 40%, and in reality pays closer to 18%, we must pay more locally to get our kids the accommodations that they need to succeed. Additionally, schools are taking over early intervention programming, so the cost rises further. And before anyone gets all grumbly about taking care of disabled kids, many of these kids will grow out of the need for their accommodations, especially if they get proper supports early on. If they aren't cared for, the cost to the public to care for unsupported disabled adults is many times what it costs to care for a disabled person who knows how to navigate and find care within their community. We all do better when we care for our neighbors. Because of this, many of us here cannot support a budget that actively funds the neglect of any marginalized community, And I ask all here to join us in voting no to funding politically motivated lawsuits and not education.
Thank you. Other questions or comments on Article 2? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on Article 2 to authorize expenditure of $4,696,930.10 for special education. All those in favor, please hold up your cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Article 2 is passed. Article 3, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. The school board is recommending $203,046.21. This time I would like to hear a motion with an amount for Article 3.
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommended amount on Article 3. Discussion on Article 3. Yes, sir.
We constantly hear from our communities about the vital importance of career and technical education. The Building Trades program at Sumner, in partnership with HCTC, is a prime example of our collaboration with other districts to offer these opportunities to students and, incidentally, provide a modest revenue stream for our school. If neighboring districts take issue with the discriminatory policies adopted by this board, we run the risk of not only jeopardizing the inflow of students to the new Building Trades program, but also the availability of slots for our students attending HCTC. A number of us here tonight are voting no on this budget, not because we don't value career and technical education, but because we refuse to support a school board that has rejected a common set of community standards and the laws that bind all school systems in our state. I invite everyone here tonight who is opposed to the direction this board has taken in the past year to join us in rejecting a budget that will endanger access to programs and activities that rely on maintaining policies consistent with neighboring districts.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 3? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on Article 3 to authorize expenditure of $203,046.21 for career and technical education. All those in favor, please hold up your blue cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Article 3 is passed as recommended. Article 4, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other instruction. The school board recommends $508,198.16. This time I would like to hear a motion in regard to Article 4 with an amount.
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the article as recommended. Discussion on Article 4. Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
So, I'm Tanya from Mariahville. I've been here trying to buy a ballot initiative in May recently, flooded our main with out-of-state circulators. Yesterday, we watched it get shut down. The reason why was because there was so much fraud that was involved in it. I reflect on this board. Under the guise of protecting girls in sports, the new policy does not offer clarity or only unforeseen consequences. And this is an open question about how this change will apply to visiting athletes. It is unclear if our district even has any trans athletes. The policy is designed to suppress their involvement, but visiting teams adhering to Maine state law might not come, which means our sports will be shut down. We won't be able to play. A number of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget, not because we don't value athletics, and not because we don't value our students or our coaches. In fact, our coaches will have to actively discriminate against members of any student population. I invite everyone here to join us in rejecting the budget that will risk students' opportunities and places our programs in conflict with schools statewide.
Thank you. Other comments on Article 4, discussion? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on Article 4, which is to authorize expenditure of $508,198.16 for other instruction. All those in favor, please hold up your blue cards. Thank you. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Thank you. Article 4 is passed. Article 5, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The school board recommends $2,011,694.76. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 5 with an amount?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize expenditure for the recommended amount. Discussion on Article 5. Yes, ma'am.
Can we just get a clarification of the health centers under the student and staff support? I had it written down at one point, but I think it would be.
The question was clarification of the cost centers under Article 5 for student and staff support. Mr. Eastman, can you address that?
Yep, guidance services, health services, curriculum, instructional staff training, library, instructional technology, student assessment, and there is contingency money in there.
Does that answer the question? Thank you. Other discussion on Article 5? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, the hat messed me up. Yes, ma'am.
You can call me whatever you want. My name is Becca Gagne. I'm from Franklin. The newly adopted policy of RSU 24 poisons the intent of student and staff support services. Any policy which declares the reality of a group of students to be invalid undermines the support of all students who might be experiencing unique circumstances in their lives. Trust is essential to guide health. When it's lost, it may never be regained. Further, there are a host of privacy and medical laws surrounding student health and well-being that a full implementation of this policy would violate. This creates not only risk from a single lawsuit, but a systemic, ongoing legal nightmare for our district. A number of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget, not because we don't value student and staff support, but because that support has been compromised by an invasive and recklessly liable policy. I invite everyone here tonight who is opposed to the direction this board has taken in the past year to join us in rejecting a budget that risks the safety of both students and staff instead of offering support when they need it most.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 5? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on Article 5, which is to authorize expenditure of $2,011,694.76 for student and staff support. All those in favor of the article, please hold up your blue cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Article 5 has passage. Article 6, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for system administration. The school board recommends $839,559.76. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 6 with an amount?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass the article with the recommended amount. Discussion on Article 6. Rick, we'll go here and then there. You're first, sir.
So to date, RSU 24 administration has avoided any budgetary discussion regarding the suit filed by the Maine Human Rights Commission. Careful review of other district board meetings revealed that the school system's shared insurance policy has tentatively agreed to cover up to $250,000. Insurance may no longer be obligated to help if a court determines RSU 24 has acted in violation of state law. And that's where our public tax dollars come in. Your dollars will also be necessary when parents of trans or non-binary kids file additional suits. For this disaster, $250,000 is a gross underestimate. 12 years ago, RSU 26 paid $75,000 for violating one trans student's rights. That's an easy 6 figures today with runaway inflation. Willful discrimination of an entire group of students could cost millions, and damages will increase the longer the discrimination persists. That's why we want to stop it now. A number of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget, not because any animosity toward the school's administrators, but because this lawsuit makes responsible administration of taxpayer funds impossible. I invite everyone here tonight who is opposed to the direction this board has taken in the past year to join us in rejecting a budget that carelessly diverts much-needed resources to the litigation of political crusades.
School board member over here.
I just wanted to get some clarification. So you put the number up here for the increase in legal fees that would go under the administration portion, which was $12,500. In previous years, I just wanted for context, we spent between $16,000 and $21,000, and it's increasing to $30,000 for our next fiscal year. However, at the budget meetings, those that attended were told that there was a portion that was expected to increase due to just typical inflation and legal costs were overall increasing. How much of that $12,500 is due to that portion?
Mr. Eastman?
Yes, thank you. Janet Jordan, who's probably going to duck down behind the chair there. She handles our insurance. She's our Director of Facilities and Transportation. I don't believe in any of our policies at this point it's been indicated X number of dollars is as a result of this lawsuit that we're in. Am I right on that, Janet? Have you seen?
Yeah.
This is true. Okay. And so at this point there is no designated. You know, it was a guess, understanding that there's potential, that there's going to be additional legal action. As the gentleman pointed out, we are part of a lawsuit that is shared with other districts, and they do have a shared pot of $250,000. I don't know the exact, but I'm going to say it's around $50,000 has been used at this point. And so, as I pointed out in the beginning, it's a guesstimate when you're putting a budget together. In some of the areas, you don't have a clue how it's going to play out. And I did my best to put a figure in.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, and can I just share one thing?
Let me ask if there's anybody else who wants to speak first, then we'll get back to you. Are there any other comments on Article 6? See none, we'll go back to you.
So I just crunched the numbers earlier because we had a community member ask, and overall, the legal fee increases is 1.04% of the total budget, which equates to approximately 0.046 of the overall budget, just so everybody knows.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 6? I'm not seeing any, so I will call for a vote on Article 6. Those in favor of authorizing expenditure of $839,559.76 for system administration, please hold up your blue cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Article 6 is passed. Article 7, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for school administration. The school board recommends $1,402,574.88. Do I hear a motion with an amount?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 7 at the recommended amount for school administration. Discussion on Article 7. Am I missing anybody? Oh, yes, sir.
I'm going to ask a couple of things. One is, can we get an actual count of the for and against? I mean, people hold up their cards and you say such and such passes. I don't know, it doesn't look to me like such and such passes. And I'm a school board member, obviously, that's why I'm sitting up here. But can I just say that so far, because this is a budget meeting, we've been discussing the financial costs of it, what it takes to run a school system. Only a few people have talked about the emotional costs that it takes to run a school system. When you ask your staff, the counselors and nurses and teachers and building administrators, to violate state law. Now, there's been some discussion of the ambiguity of the Title IX implementation that we put together, this board has put together through a weighted vote. A numerical minority of this board voted for. But nobody seems to be concerned with the emotional costs on the students. Not just the trans or gay students I'm thinking of, but all the students. What kind of example does it set? To say we will set some of these children aside for whatever reason and not let them play certain sports or do certain things. What kind of example are we as adults setting? It seems to me that there is a cost that is going to be borne by the policies we put in place starting last May. And it seems to me tragic that that cost is going to be borne by a few kids and their parents. And that we can skate by saying, oh, well, our legal costs are being covered by our insurance policy. I suspect our insurance policy is going to increase in costs, among other things. And I tell you this, if one child is harmed by this policy, or harms themselves, we will pay a moral price for what we have done, never mind a financial price. I think the policy we put in place, let me just say, I think the policy we put in place by our own definition of child abuse amounts to child abuse. Read our child abuse policy and you tell me if denying a kid access to certain facilities is not child abuse. So when you're voting, and understand, I'm on this board, I support public education with everything I've got. But we have embarked on a course, the one thing we know, as was mentioned earlier, about the policy we put in place is it violates state and, frankly, federal law. We do not have a leg to stand on if we go to court. Make no mistake, this is going to cost this district thousands and thousands of dollars, millions probably if a kid hurts himself. So when I understand, I wasn't born in Maine. I was born down south. And I know that Yankees like to talk about as much as they like to spend money. But trust me on this is going to cost us a bloody fortune. And it's a decision we will regret long after this board has gotten off of this stage. So bear that in mind as you continue to vote for this budget. We don't have, nobody said, well, we think we only need $17,000, we only need $30,000. All of you, anybody here who's a lawyer knows that that is absolute nonsense. It's going to cost us $300,000 to walk into court, and more on top of that. But the moral cost, that's a different story. We'll be paying that for a long time. I will, at any rate. Thank you.
Thank you. I will ask the ballot clerks for our next hand vote to count to accommodate your request. I was going on my best estimate. Yes, ma'am.
I need a clarification of what is under this cost
Mr. Eastman, can you answer that question?
Yes. School administration, it's pretty general, principal's offices and contingency. That's what's in these costs.
Okay.
Just for the record, we have a contingency built into the majority of our budget for things that we don't know are happening. So we've done it for years.
Thank you.
I will see if I can find more answers to that.
Other discussion on Article 7? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. Clerks, if you want to spread out and decide by yourself, among yourself, how to divide the room as far as counting goes, I would recommend that. Oh, it's all done. You guys are good. Okay. All those in favor of Article 7 at $1,402,574.88, please hold up your cards and keep them up until the clerks have been able to count hands and cards. Did anybody get the school board? Good. This will be your passive yoga for tonight. Lucille, are you all set? Or? Okay, and all set up back? Okay, you can put them down. Those opposed to the article, please hold up your cards. Are all the ballot clerks set? Okay. I'll wait until you tally things up. The vote was 51 yes and 36 no. Article 7 is passed. Thank you. Article 8, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. The school board recommends $1,684,915.19. Do I hear a motion with an amount for Article 8?
Will we approve the article with the recommended amount?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 8 as recommended. Discussion on Article 8. Yes.
So, we have often heard at these meetings that bus drivers are difficult to find. Pay starts at $23 an hour and requires a CDL, which often earn an employee considerably more in the private sector. Efforts have been made to shore up recruitment. In addition to this, the board has recommended every year the replacement of at least one bus. There are 32 available buses. Recommended for replacement are 1 passenger van and 9 are full-size buses. Some of the members of the Facilities Transportation Subcommittee board members voted to remove the safer option of the new school bus rather than another year of maintenance on older buses. To put children in danger. As a previous bus driver myself, I understand the severe importance of bus safety. My brakes went out 3 times before the final 4th time when the emergency brake gave way and we almost crashed into a house. You can only repair a school bus for so long before it becomes unsafe. We would literally be taking the risk of throwing more children under the bus. The safety of all our children is not an option, it is a responsibility. And yet the same subcommittee members who didn't fight hard to find a lawyer charging $250 an hour to defend a needless lawsuit against a minority population. The same lawyers happy to take on multiple schools as clients in a region-wide lawsuit over an unnecessary and illegal EO 14201. Several of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget, not to weaken the transportation budget already struggling with hiring difficulties, soaring diesel, and maintenance costs, but to force the district to examine its priorities. I invite everyone here tonight who's opposed to the direction of this board has taken in the past year to joining us in rejecting a budget that funds lawyers over bus drivers and student safety, especially after the National Transportation Safety Board discovered a system-wide failure in MASC 15 when Braden Callahan and Simon Gonzalez were both killed by a bus last year.
Thank you. Is there other discussion on Article 8? Yes, ma'am.
I was just looking for some clarification because I do sit on facilities and transportation. I know that we just purchased 2 new buses, so I'm not sure what the previous presenter is speaking of. Perhaps maybe you could clarify. I'm pretty confident that all of our buses are safe, as my own children ride these buses. So can you just clarify for the audience?
Clarify again, looking in the back corner to Janet Jordan, because I do believe through our committee meetings, we've agreed that, and we have a specific mechanic that does these inspections, and we have state inspections. All of our buses are safe, are they not, Jen? Mrs. Jen?
Yes, they are. We have a full-time mechanic that takes care of all of our vehicles. They are inspected every day by the bus drivers themselves, twice a day, and they are inspected by the state police annually in June. We decided not to purchase a bus this year because all of our buses that we have are completely safe and in very good shape. So we decided not to spend the money on that, but to spend it elsewhere.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 8? Yes?
I'll just say it here. I literally used to inspect my bus every single time I drove it. Every time I had to, I was required to. Having the CDL requires you to take extra precautions. So even if you have a mechanic, in the place I worked at, there were 6 mechanics, and they took care of those buses as best they could. But you cannot control whether brakes go out, you cannot control whether a stop sign stops working, you cannot control that. It's mechanical. It's going to break down over time. And since there was no bus that was purchased this year, it puts our children at risk.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 8? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I do have a question. And I apologize if I go on a little bit. I must confess, I had a medical procedure yesterday which required I go under anesthesia. And I was told to make no critical decisions for the next 48 hours. So, but my question is this: having identified a gay or trans kid in this school system, or several of them, do we have a policy as to where they sit on the bus? Do we get down to that level of discrimination among these children? You think it may be funny. For the kids, it's not funny. They will be identified. The other children will come to know who is who. The beauty of this is that I think most of these children are a great deal more forgiving than some of us adults. But do we put a kid in the back of the bus?
Mr. Eastman, did you want to address that question? I'm honestly having a hard time, Terry, no offense, understanding the exact question you're trying to get answered. I think every one of our bus drivers works very hard to make sure that all of our kids are safe on the bus, and our administrators, they deal with every issue that comes across their desk in regards to behavior that takes place on the buses. And so I
I'm having a hard time making a connection to the actual article that we're having and what you're expressing. Thank you.
Other discussion on Article 8?
Yeah, just
She's first and then you.
what I'm
No,
discussing.
the other
Sorry.
school board member.
Janet, just for clarification, you did say the bus drivers inspect their buses each day before, you said twice a day, so before they use them each time.
Pre-trip inspection.
That's what I thought. I thought you said that. Just wanted to clarify.
Okay, yes, sir.
I think my question is actually quite valid. And I raise it simply because busing has been an issue in New England for a long time. And so is prejudice. And it's naive to think that what has driven this policy, AC-R, has not been driven by absolute prejudice. I repeat, the one thing that is absolutely clear about the situation we are in is that we are breaking the law. The second thing that is absolutely clear about what's going on is that these kids will be identified in the schools that they are in and set aside. And it's naive to think that's not going to happen. So can they sit next to other kids on the bus? That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I've listened to a number of people tonight state, in their opinion, unequivocally that we are breaking the law. And those of you that attended any of the deliberations on this policy will have heard me say this a number of times in the course of those discussions. It's not clear at all whether we're breaking the law or not. If it were clear, there would not be cases in front of the Supreme Court right now arguing that very issue. My argument for why we should not have adopted the policy that we have in place now, when we did, was that we should wait to see how the Supreme Court rules to determine the legality of this issue. The board opted not to do that. It still doesn't change the fact that in front of the Supreme Court right now are arguments questioning whether the validity of the president's executive order. If the Supreme Court rules that the president's executive order carries the weight of law, then Title IX holds supremacy over Maine state law, and we would, in fact, be complying with federal law, and the Maine Human Rights Act would be ruled unconstitutional. If the Supreme Court rules the other way, then clearly we would be, that would answer the question, and we would be put in a place where we were breaking the law. And if it were clear we were breaking the law, then that's a different issue before this board. But right now, it is not clear. Again, if it was clear, the Supreme Court would not be listening to arguments about it right now. So it's not clear that we're breaking the law.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I thought we were talking about school buses.
The article has to do with transportation and buses. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
People are raising no because they disagree with the decision that's been made. And it's not the whole people costing for the budget cut. Please explain so that everyone in the room is voting understands exactly what policy is set.
I'm going to rule that question out of order. It has nothing to do with transportation and buses. Any other discussion on Article 8?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Whether or not it is a legal thing that you have done, whether or not a regime-owned Supreme Court decides in your favor, the fact of the matter stands that you changed a student-written policy in favor of a currently illegal policy, and you will do it if you win this, and if the Supreme Court judges in your favor, you will do all the other policies, including who rides the bus and where they can sit on that bus. You will change every single policy of the school to be against trans students, in particular lesbian and gay students as well. And that's just the way it works.
Just a reminder, we are debating transportation and buses, and we're straying quite a ways away from that. Please sit down, thank you. Is there any other discussion regarding the transportation and buses budget? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. Clerks, do your thing. Okay. Let me know when each clerk is done counting, and we won't have to hold the hands up so long. All those in favor of Article 8 is recommended at $1,684,915.19 for transportation and buses, hold up your cards. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs up. You're all set here in front of me? Lucille, all set? Okay, you can put those down. Those opposed to the recommended amount, please hold up your cards. Everybody set with the count, clerks? You may put them down. Article 8 is passed as recommended. Thank you very much. Article 9, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The school board recommends $2,992,265.53. Do I hear a motion with an amount in regard to Article 9?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on Article 9. Yes.
Before Title IX vote, before, in October, between August 19, 2025 and May 19, 2026, the Facilities and Transportation Subcommittee requested information to discuss potential restroom and locker room remodel. The administration person submitted the approximate cost for the renovation, and most subcommittee members agreed the money would be better spent in the older schools rather than the newer Sumner High School. One subcommittee member was adamant that it needed to be Sumner High School. The total approximate cost would be between $500,000 and $750,000 that would have to be paid by a bond and a further expense of the taxpayers in the next year's budget. And the only way to know the full amount would be to spend a non-refundable $8,000 to $15,000 fee on the architect and engineer application. The topic was tabled for the next meeting, and we would be forced to unnecessarily pay for all of that. With respect to the final decision by the Maine State Secretary Shanna Bellows and the Maine Supreme Court, the Facilities and Transportation Subcommittee needs to remove the agenda item and rescind the item. Renovation of gang bathrooms and shower rooms to individual unisex facilities. Also, the item, discuss and review proposal of request for architectural engineer services, and that several of us respect privacy and safety for all children, not just one, all of them. The request to force taxpayers to pay for an unnecessary bathroom and locker room remodel is beyond reproach and no longer aligns with the October vote to change the Title IX policy. Several of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget, not against, but in support of those who have chosen the right wrongs with our board decisions. And I encourage everyone here to vote no, along with us, as it is to join us in rejecting the budget, as it would saddle our teachers, our parents, administrative staff, visitors, visiting sports teams, with the undue burden of navigating an illegal, expensive, and unethical policy.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 9? Seeing none, clerks? Those in favor of authorizing expenditure of $2,992,265.53 for facilities maintenance, please hold up your blue cards and keep them up. Everybody good? You may put them down. Those opposed to that motion, please hold up your cards. Everybody counted? Okay, put those down. The vote was 49 yes to 35 no. Article 9 is passed. Article 10, to see what sum the original school unit will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends $3,547,194.41. Do I hear a motion with an amount in regard to Article 10?
Move to approve the article, the recommended amount.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the article as recommended. Discussion on Article 10. In front here.
Hi, again, I'm Grace. I'm a resident of Franklin. Much of the current debt service relates to the construction of the new Sumner facility, which in essence is a gift from the state of Maine. As a state institution, RSU 24's responsibility under the laws of Maine is to provide an education for all of our students. And for those who really seem to be confused, all means every single last one. We owe to the state to adhere to these responsibilities, not just the ones we choose to accept. We also owe it to the communities to provide responsible stewardship of their funds. A number of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget because the district has failed the state and its constituents by engaging in what amounts to uncertain financial risk in a perilous economic time. I invite everyone here tonight who is opposed to the horribly disappointing direction this board has taken in the past year to join us in rejecting this fiscal irresponsibility and return us to lawful compliance with the state.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 10? Seeing none, clerks, take your marks. All those in favor of authorizing $3,547,194.41 for debt service and other commitments, please hold up your cards and keep them up while they count. Clerks, all good? Okay, you may put those down. Those opposed to the motion, hold up your cards. Everybody's counted. You may put those down. We will tally those up. The vote is 51 yes, 36 no. Article 10 is passed. Article 11, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures. The school board recommends $300,539.52. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 11 with an amount?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to pass Article 11 for all other expenditures as recommended. Discussion on Article 11. Yes, sir.
In early 2025, Janet Jordan, who has been a fabulous asset to this district, and I commend her for her work, she gave an update to the board on a shortfall in the school lunch program. The mistake led to reduced balance forward. This was a legitimate and unforeseen error that was handled with expediency once detected. Yet with the policy decisions made by this board, we are plodding along an erroneous course and sticking to our guns. The financial challenges of staying in a needless lawsuit are of this board's own making, the cost of which could cover the entire school lunch program for 1 year. A number of us in attendance tonight are voting no on this budget because the district has actively jeopardized funding for even basic needs by engaging in unnecessary lawsuits. I invite everyone here tonight who is opposed to the direction this board has taken in the past year to join us in rejecting the intentional, misguided use of district funds.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 11? Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that Article 11 is just based off of the shortfall from the school lunch program, correct?
Is that Mr. Eastman?
Yes.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 11? Seeing none, we will call for a vote on Article 11 and get our clerks in place again. Doing a great job, by the way. All those in favor of authorizing expenditure of $300,539.52 for all other expenses, please hold up your blue cards and keep them up. All set? You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. All set, everybody? Okay, you may put those down.
Yes and 36 no.
54 yes, 36 no. Article 11 is passed as recommended. Article 12. You have to listen to me for a few minutes. To see what sum the regional school unit will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15688. The recommended amounts are set forth below. The total to be appropriated by each municipality is the town of Eastbrook, $786,772.89. The town of Franklin, $2,642,969.58. The town of Goldsboro, $2,266,101.70. The town of Mariahville, $652,380.28. The town of Sorrento, $490,662.41. The town of Steuben, $2,329,728.74. The town of Sullivan, $2,016,487.90. The town of Waltham, $545,724.27. The town of Winter Harbor, $506,569.17. For a total appropriated, that all adds up to $12,237,376.94.
The total raised and the regional school unit assessments by municipality, this is from property taxes. Town of Eastbrook, $562,242. Town of Franklin, $1,477,296.50. The town of Gouldsboro, $1,947,595.70. The town of Mariahville, $577,107.16. Town of Sorrento, $490, $662.41. Town of Steuben, $1,454,152. Town of Sullivan, $1,453,681.59. Town of Waltham, $282,814.50. The town of Winter Harbor, $435,369.17. For a total to be raised, the sum is $8,680,921.03. In explanation, the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act is the amount of money determined by state law to be the minimum amount that the regional school unit must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars. Do I hear a motion in regard to the recommended amount for Article 12?
Mr. Moderator, in light of the fact that you misspoke on one of these numbers, the town of Mariahville's number, you read as $652,380 and 28 cents, and it's $360 and 28 cents. I'm going to move the article as written with the recommended amount.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
I thought I did pretty good, you know. I got
Everyone makes
17 out of 18. If I was hitting for the Red Sox, I'd make a lot of money. It's been moved and seconded to approve the article as written recommendations with that $20 correction in Mariahville. Discussion on Article 12. Yes, sir.
I'm going to face my constituents when I speak on this. $27 million. That's a lot of money. You know what it costs each student to go through this a year? $37,000. It's a lot of money. Main schools are rated, ranked in the USA 41st. State-wise, RSU 24, not much better. We're not putting the kids first, and it's not the few. I don't know what to do with the few. But we have, if you go on TV, go on YouTube, and listen to how these kids speak nowadays, and the questions that they ask them, and they can't answer them. They just don't know simple historical questions. It's sad. We're not teaching reading, writing, arithmetic anymore. It seems like we're trying to raise our teachers and school staff and administrators, not saying all of them, are on their own agenda. And that agenda is causing a rift in the community. I don't hate anybody. I don't care who you are. You never raised that way, surprisingly. And I wish everybody would quit using race and gender as a reason to fight. You've got to start making the right choices. You've got to start making the right votes. And we've got to get America back to what it was in. Thank you.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 12? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry. I did not see your card. Go ahead.
The question was asked, and I think it should be answered by a woman sitting over here. Exactly what is this Title IX alignment business all about? Since this is what's caused so much of the rift in these various communities. I might just read a portion of it. It opens with, "It is the policy of Regional School Unit Number 24, RSU Board, RSUB, to follow all state and federal laws applicable to schools." That's the opening statement of this thing. Makes perfect sense. Now, we can debate what is and isn't federal law. We can't really debate what is and isn't state law. All that the previous policy that was voted by this board unanimously in 2019 did, and that was policy JB, was to align the school policy with state law at the time. State law is the same. It was voted in the legislature, it passed, and the kids said, let's align our school policy with state law. That's all they did. And it was a unanimous vote by the board. In the last few months, we voted in a weighted vote and implemented policy AC-R, which says, to continue, based upon Executive Order 14201, which is an executive order. You can ask a variety of lawyers, which I have done. I've asked a judge, and I have been told rather clearly that an executive order is not law. It may be determined law, but at the moment, for the last year, it is not law. It is a opinion by the Executive Department of Justice, the Federal Executive Department of Justice. If it were to be considered law, excuse me, I'm talking, excuse me. If it were to be considered law, it would mean the executive branch of the federal government can not only make law, but enforce it. The moment the office of the executive is designed to enforce laws, and the laws are made by the legislative branch, that would be the Senate and the House, as interpreted by the courts. That's the situation we find ourselves in now. And since it's going to cost in my town about $30,000 per child this next year, not counting what may become of a court case, I think it's imperative that we look, since we're getting money from the state of Maine to support the public education system in this district, it just seems to me that we should be abiding by the laws of the state of Maine, first and foremost, because they pay a huge amount of the budget that we have, as it's been presented to you. So I really wish you people would consider these kinds of things. This much we know, we're breaking the law.
Thank you, school board member down the other end.
Since we are talking about following the law, I just wanted to point out the reason that the majority of the board voted to oust JD policy is it is in direct conflict with Florida law, which was more of the reason that that we got rid of it. I know that you were saying that your memory is not the greatest right now, so I just wanted to remind you that JD policy was ousted because of that. It had nothing to do with anything other than it directed our administration to keep secrets from parents at the behest of their children, which is illegal.
I think we were straying a little bit far of the question, which is the EPS question here. If we could keep the discussion on that, that would be helpful. Other discussion on Article 12. Seeing none, clerks, we do have to count this one, whether we want to or not. That's required by law. I'm not going to read each town's amounts again. I'm just going to ask, all those in favor of passing Article 12 as recommended, please hold up your blue cards. Keep them up. You get a count? Okay, you may put those down. Those opposed to the motion in Article 12, hold them up, keep them up. Everybody counted? You may put them down. The count was 53 yes, 38 no. Melinda, be sure to record that. Okay. Article 12 is passed as recommended. Article 13, to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the regional school unit voters for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. The school board recommends $156,663.98. In explanation, non-state funded debt service is the amount of money needed for the annual payments on the regional school unit's long-term debt for major capital school construction projects that are not approved for state subsidy. The bonding of this long-term debt was previously approved by the regional school unit voters. May I hear a motion in regard to Article 13 with an amount?
Move to approve the article with the recommended amount.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the article as recommended. Discussion on Article 13. Seeing none, clerks. All those in favor of payment on annual debt services as recommended, please hold up your blue cards and keep them up. We all counted, you may put them down. Those opposed to Article 13, please hold up your cards. All counted? You may put them down. The count was 53 yes, 36 no. Article 13 is passed as recommended. This next one is a fun one because you get to cast a written ballot. Okay. This is Article 14. Have ballots been distributed? Okay, so you got your ballots when you got your blue cards, right? Excellent. And to vote on the written ballot before we get to the question, there's a ballot box here with a slot in the top. I'm guessing that you fill out your written ballot, stick it in the box, and go back to your seat. But here we go. To see what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate in additional local funds is recommended at $8,672,712.48, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by a recommended $8,372,172.96, as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. The school board recommends $8,672,712.48, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by $8,372,172.96. The school board gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model. The EPS funding model favors school units that are both large and urban, while a single administrative unit continues to bring greater efficiencies, as well as foster programming equity and staffing levels that are more closely aligned with programming equity and staffing levels that are more closely aligned with EPS guidelines than multiple and redundant single building units. Our schools are still small and widely scattered, which increases operating costs. Given these circumstances, it would be very difficult for a unit so rural and geographically spread out to ever achieve the targets calculated in the model. As explanation, the additional local funds are those that are locally raised funds over and above the regional school unit's local contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and local amounts raised for the annual payment on non-state funded debt service that will help achieve the regional school unit budget for educational purposes. Do I hear a motion with a recommended amount for Article 14?
Move we raise and appropriate $8,672,712.48 in additional local funds.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appropriate the recommended amount for additional local funds. Discussion on Article 14. Seeing none, clerks, we will vote by written ballot on this, so take your ballot, mark your ballot either yes or no, come down and put it in the ballot box, and it'll be just like Tuesday. Has everybody cast a ballot who wishes to cast a ballot? This is the one time I intend to use the gavel tonight.
I would imagine.
We got one more left.
Whatever.
All right.
I'm here and it works. I'm here.
I will declare the ballot box closed.
Yeah, whatever works. It shouldn't take long.
The good news is this is the only written ballot that's required. Okay. Article 14 passes 49 to 43. We got 5 left, folks. Article 15, which summarizes the proposed school budget, is to see what sum the regional school unit will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026, and ending June 30, 2027, from the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, local funds for non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The school board recommends $27,349,929.79. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 15 with an amount?
Will we approve the article with the recommended amount?
It has been moved and seconded to pass Article 15 as recommended. Discussion on Article 15. Seeing none, we have to have a clerk count on this article as well. And so I will ask the clerks to disperse. And those in favor of Article 15 as moved, please hold up your cards. Keep them up. I believe when you're all counted, you may put those down. And those opposed to Article 15, please hold up your cards. You all counted? You may put those down. The article passes 51 to 28. The next three articles have to do with the next article has to do with the adult education program. It's Article 16 to see if the regional school unit will appropriate $529,387.66 for adult education and raise $274,716.52 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. The school board recommends a yes vote. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 16?
Will you approve the article as written?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 16. Discussion on Article 16. Seeing none, we do need a count on this one as well, so here we go. Those in favor, hold up your blue cards. Everybody counted? You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up your cards. Yeah, I think we've got everybody counted. You may put those down. Count is 52 yes, 20 no. Article 16 is passed. Article 17. In addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, shall the school board be authorized to expend such other sums as may be received from federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school and other program purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously appropriated. The school board recommends a yes vote. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 17?
Will you approve the article authorizing the board to expend such other sums?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass Article 17. Discussion on Article 17. We don't necessarily need a count on this. Oh, we have discussion. Go ahead. The question, Mr. Eastman, I'll let you handle. What are other sums that the school might receive?
Well, there are times throughout the school year where we get grants for various things. A teacher may apply for something, and we would be awarded the grants, and so they give for board permission. Typically, when it's over $1,000, it's brought to the board for their approval, and then we would manage it.
Did that explain it? It's a good day when that happens. Yes, sir.
Is there any limitation on these grants with respect to affiliation, religious, political, or otherwise?
Mr. Eastman?
I can't remember any grants that have had a religious affiliation to them. I mean, certainly we would have to go through the process of making sure it meets the criteria one by one, so it would be tough to actually have it in front of us to say it's and those typically are over $1,000, which means the board would be approved.
The other question I have, if I may ask, is it likely, since we are, or maybe, violating state law, is it likely that the state would withhold grants that they might otherwise give us, any state funding that we might be normally receiving? Is it likely they would take that back?
To date, they've had no correspondence with anybody that has indicated that we would be penalized for any amount of money or any award as a result of being in this lawsuit.
Down at the other end of the table.
Does this also include donations? Not
Question
just
is-
grants, it would also be donations from community members?
Yes.
Answer is yes.
And the same thing would happen if it's over $1,000.
Other discussion on Article 17. Seeing none, I will call for a show of hands on this. All those in favor of Article 17, please hold up your cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed? Article 17 is passed. Okay. Article 18. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer amounts exceeding 5% of the total appropriation for any cost center to another cost center or among other cost centers for the 2026-2027 fiscal year, provided that transfer shall not be permitted to increase the authorized total school budget? The school board recommends a yes vote. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 18?
Will we approve the article authorizing the school board to transfer between cost centers?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass Article 18. Discussion on Article 18. Yes, sir.
Russell and Sullivan. I think given the unforeseen costs we may be facing, it probably would be wise to have the board come to each community and ask for any funds and not just transfer funds around between the different programs. So I would say that we should vote no on this.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 18? Seeing none, I will call for a show of hands on Article 18. Go ahead.
Would our transfer for food service have been covered under this specific provision?
It will be covered at the end of the school year, the fiscal year. It will be covered with this
vote that was taken last year. Thank you. Is there other discussion on Article 18?
One other question.
Yes, sir.
Is it conceivable that if our legal expenses exceed what we've allocated, we will be transferring funds from another cost center to cover our legal expenses should the insurance fail us?
Who wants to take a stab at that?
It is conceivable that this article would be used in a situation where our legal expenses or medical expenses exceed what we have today.
Thank you. Other discussion on Article 18? Seeing none, I will call for a call of hands here. If it looks close, we'll have the clerks count. But all those in favor of passing Article 18, please hold up your cards. Thank you. You may put those down. Those opposed, please hold up yours. Article 18 is passed. Last one. Article 19. Shall the regional school unit authorize the school board to transfer the regional school unit's unallocated balances in excess of 9% of the prior fiscal year's budget as determined by audit to the regional school unit's non-lapsing contingency fund for periods of financial emergency pursuant to Section 1482-B3 of Title 20A? And shall the regional school unit delegate authority to the school board to expend sums in the contingency fund when the school board determines by public vote that an emergency need exists, and to transfer sums in the contingency fund to the regional school unit's general fund for use in school operating budgets approved by regional school unit voters? The school board recommends a yes vote. Do I hear a motion in regard to Article 19?
Will you approve the article authorizing the board to transfer unallocated balances to a contingency fund?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass Article 19. Discussion on Article 19. Julie, did you? No? No? You didn't want to speak? Okay. Is there anybody who wants to discuss Article 19? Seeing none, all those in favor, please hold up your blue cards. You may put those down. Those opposed to Article 19, you may put those down. Article 19 passes. Ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate you on a very well-attended, very well-behaved RSU meeting. In Lemoyne, I had 17 people. It took 28 minutes. This meeting is now adjourned.